Good evening and welcome to the 8 o'clock news. The top headlines tonight: Chinese claims on India's territory. The centre responds to NDTV reports saying the construction is in areas that China has illegally occupied, and India hasn't accepted any unjustified Chinese claims. An IIT Hyderabad graduate posted those horrific online rape threats to Virat and Anushka's daughter. A Mumbai court sent him to police custody till the end of the month. Cops say he pretended to be a Pakistani called Yamuna to hide his identity. An academic topper studying to go abroad, now his future impacted by this stupid, horrible online threat. Heavy rain today in Tamil Nadu, but by this evening the red alert for rain has been lifted. Chennai airport also reopens this evening after shutting down in the morning. As North India chokes, farm fires in Punjab and Haryana are the highest in the last 3 years. Uttar Pradesh has the highest number of polluted cities. Delhi is back in the severe air quality zone. Faith amid toxic waters. A boat ride on the Yamuna as Chhath Puja celebrations are held. This special report on how our ancient rivers are also now polluted. Ex-Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav campaigns in West UP tells NDTV we're the BJP's real opposition, not the BSP or Congress. But our lead story breaking tonight: India has officially responded to Chinese construction in Indian territory, something NDTV has reported and has been backed by a report released by the Pentagon in the United States. Vishnu has the details on India's response. Vishnu.
Well, India's response is absolutely clear. India has said that we condemn Chinese construction activity in areas which have been illegally occupied, that China's illegal occupation is not accepted. And the government has conveyed that in no unclear terms that this has been conveyed to China as well, not just now, but in the future as well. They've also indirectly referred to the NDTV report, saying the media reports had come out a few months back. In fact, the media report was an NDTV report where we brought you the picture that you see on your screen. That is of this 100-home Chinese village that has been constructed in the upper Subansiri district of Arunachal Pradesh. This is territory that the Chinese have occupied from 1959 onwards, but India has never given up its claim on it. And by constructing this village, China has qualitatively changed the status quo of this disputed area, which is why now India condemning it, perhaps belatedly, sends a strong signal that yes, this is our area. What China is doing is unacceptable to us.
It was the US Department of Defense report to the US Congress, as far as we understand. We have taken note of the US Department of Defense report to the US Congress, which inter alia also makes a reference to construction activities by the Chinese side along the India-China border areas, particularly in the eastern sector. Reports had also appeared in the media earlier this year on this issue. As we had stated then, China has undertaken construction activities in the past several years along the border areas, including in the areas that it has illegally occupied over decades. India has neither accepted such illegal occupation of our territory, nor has it accepted the unjustified Chinese claims. Government has always conveyed its strong protest to such activities through diplomatic means and will continue to do so in the future.
Well, the other big headline here is that the young man arrested over rape threats to Virat Kohli and Anushka Sharma's 9-month-old daughter is an IIT Hyderabad graduate. He was an academic topper, but apparently had a history of online trolling using multiple identities. In fact, the police say at this time as well, he kept changing his ID and posed as a Pakistani handle called Amina. As an IIT graduate, he knew how to handle technology, but he was online trolling and posting the horrific rape threats against a baby girl. He's now been sent to police custody till the end of this month.
Ram Nagesh Akubathini. This 23-year-old is behind the rape threats to India's cricket captain Virat Kohli's daughter after the India-New Zealand match. An IIT graduate, he was a topper in his district as he got into IIT Hyderabad. He quit his well-paying job with a popular food delivery app to prepare for a master's degree in the United States.
Ram Nagesh Akubatini was known to be a soft-spoken, diligent, academically brilliant, studious young man, in sharp contrast to the violent man who spewed hatred online through anonymous social media handles. The family says they knew nothing of this, and clinical psychologists say this is often the case.
Yeah, it's a bit challenging case because the accused used pseudonames to cover his identity. He was using all the technical means to hide his identity. As you know, he's a IITN, so he was using all the technical means.
Speaking to NDTV, Ram Nagesh's father, who works at an ordnance factory, claims his son tweeted the threat by mistake.
वो क्या बोलते माग बोले तो माग बोले तो वो क्या बोलता है वो टाइप किए तो टाइपिंग में मिस्टेक हुआ बोल के जब ही वो डिलीट किया खाते हैं हाँ.
The police say he used at least 3 Twitter handles with fake names and pretended to be from Pakistan, going by the name Amina by masking his account after the outrage over his rape threat to a toddler. Ram Nagesh faces charges of outraging the modesty of a woman, criminal intimidation and other violations of the Information Technology Act. He faces a prison sentence, a minimum of 3 years. While often online hate goes unpunished, in this case the police traced the accused and arrested him within days of receiving the complaint. The police told the court the youth has accepted he made a mistake. The Mumbai police registered an FIR last Monday after Virat Kohli's manager filed a complaint. On Wednesday, he was arrested in the afternoon from Hyderabad. The police say they had to depend on technology to reach the person behind the social media handle, as he had masked his identity and location well on account of being a techie. But with help from technology and the local police, they managed to arrest the accused in just 3 days. In Mumbai, with camera person Sanjay Mandal, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
Well, moving to the latest news from Tamil Nadu, well, a red alert forecast has been lifted. This was after there was heavy rain across parts of Tamil Nadu, including Chennai today. But by the evening, things had improved, and the airport, which had shut for a few hours, is also now open for flights.
An elderly woman requiring medical help rescued by boat as residents in this low-lying pocket of Velachery in South Chennai woke up to knee-deep to waist-deep waters. It rained about 16 centimeters overnight, 11 centimeters above normal, as the depression over the Bay of Bengal approached the coast.
இனிமே யாரும் உதவி கேட்டால் அவங்களுக்கு உதவி செய்யறதுக்காக நாங்க தயார் நிலையில வந்து எனக்கு இப்ப இறங்கி நின்னா இடுப்பு அளவுக்கு தண்ணி இருக்குது இன்னும் போக போக அங்க ஆள டெப்த் கூட இருக்குது.
These are traditional low-lying areas. During every monsoon you see so much of flooding here. And look at this, water has entered all these homes. In fact, this house is shut now, but water has gone inside, and this is the case everywhere. This is part of the IT corridor in Chennai. Several communities, from IT professionals like Rishi, Meetsala Zubin and ordinary workers, had to wade through waters.
Trying to stay outside only because we are feeling not safe.
Authorities have asked residents around the lake to vacate as the overflowing water has entered homes and shops. One reason are high rises like these, which have come up on the catchment area, giving no space for water to drain away. It seems there are few lessons learned from the 2015 floods.
In the urban growth, you cannot stop it because 80% of population is going to live in urban areas in next 20-30 years. It is going to we have to pay a price for that. So definitely, I'm paying a price now.
The city has already received 100% higher than the average 25 centimeters rain for October. Met Office says rains will ease after the depression lands later this evening. With Suresh in Chennai, Sam Daniel, Find the TV.
Well, as our cities get smarter and smarter, as we can see the flooded IT corridors in Chennai, basic issues of planning and environmental planning is what's actually grounding our cities. Meanwhile, well, some good news. This woman inspector is a hero after she rescued a man who was comatose from a Tamil Nadu cemetery. The video that rescue has gone viral. The woman inspector, who was in her 50s, lifted the man and physically carried him on her shoulder. He was unconscious and got him to rush to hospital in an auto rickshaw, shouting instructions to her team that we have to save his life, come what may. Inspector Rajeshwari, our hero of the day.
One boy was lying down. He has not any sense. He is unconscious. Suddenly we took the man and I had given a first aid. After that I took body on my shoulder and went away from the cemetery auto and sent to the KMC hospital. After that I visited KMC and mother was along with him, and I will give you assurance, please don't worry.
Well, absolutely fantastic story there. But moving now to India's air emergency across North India. In fact, farm fires from Punjab and Haryana are now the highest they've been in the last 3 years. This as North India is choking with belts across Uttar Pradesh, Delhi and parts of Haryana, even some of Rajasthan are all in the severe air quality.
Blanketed by thick smog, endless clouds of toxic foam on the Yamuna river in India's capital, a convergence of environmental failures of current and past governments. But despite widespread outrage, prime time and front page headlines, there is no improvement. Stubble fires, a major contributor to the smog, have crossed 42,000 in just the past 11 days, the highest since 2018. In Punjab, the biggest such polluter, there have been 0 FIRs this year, compared to over 1,700 2 years ago. With just 3 months left for the assembly elections, the government has decided to go soft on the farmers.
ਤੇ ਅਜੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਧਮਕੀਆਂ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਡਰਾਵੇ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੱਗ ਲਾਤੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ 'ਚ ਡੱਕਾਂਗੇ, 5-5 ਕਰੋੜ ਰੁਪਇਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੁਰਮਾਨਾ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਜੇ ਕਰੋੜਾ ਰੁਪਇਆ ਹੋਵੇ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦਿਨ ਰਾਤ ਖਾਪਣ ਦੀ ਕੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ।
The worst of the air pollution emergency is being faced by Western UP. 8 out of the top 10 polluted cities in India are from the region. Parts of Ghaziabad and Delhi have had severe pollution for 8 days straight, levels which are hazardous even for healthy people and seriously impacts those with existing diseases. Like Parvinder Singh in nearby Hapur, who is asthmatic.
जब से ये पोल्यूशन बढ़ रहा है हापुड़ के आसपास, तो उसके बाद जो है सांस लेने में दिक्कत हो रही है और डॉक्टर ने भी सुबह शाम निकलने के लिए मना कर दिया घर से बाहर।
Doctors and UP pollution board officials say this is the Diwali effect.
अभी ये दिवाली का त्यौहार निकल के गया है तो कुछ प्रदूषण तो बढ़ा ही है, उसमें ठंड भी बढ़ रही है, तो ये सांस के मरीजों की दिक्कत काफ़ी बढ़ गई है। सांस के मरीजों का नंबर अस्पताल में बढ़ गया है, सांस फूलने वाले काफ़ी मरीज आ रहे हैं।
जो दिवाली के बाद जो इम्पैक्ट जो स्तर पहुंचा है वो सब्सिडाइज धीरे धीरे नहीं हो रहा है। उसका रीज़न एक क्लाइमेट की कंडीशंस हैं।
The pollution problem has gone unsolved for years now, with lots of political back and forth. But of course, the highest cost is being paid by citizens caught in the crossfire. With Alok Pandey, Sanjay Kaushik and Mohammad Ghazali, Meher Pandey for NDTV.
And as Meher reports on air pollution, there's also the reality of the toxic water we're seeing in the river Yamuna. And today, on Chhat Puja celebrations, it really was a toxic cocktail of faith in toxic waters.
This white foam floating on the surface of the Yamuna is toxic. But as you can see behind me, devotees performing the Chhat Puja are completely undeterred. Some are entering and even submerging themselves in the toxic foam. It shows what all the different problems are and all the different governments responsible and not acting fast enough. As you can see, the froth is endless. This is due to lots of chemicals in the water due to effluents from multiple governments. Delhi, Haryana and UP all release untreated water into the Yamuna, which makes the water foam up when there is surface disturbance. And also we, of course, are on a boat. We saw the fishermen bring in a net, and as you can see, there are more pollutants. There is more dirt, more plastic bags, more literal dirt than any fish, and this is their situation every single day.
It's just shocking to see that report there from the Yamuna. Meanwhile, let's just look at what's happening with COVID. Well, there are 13,091 fresh cases. That's 14% higher than yesterday. The deaths in the last 24 hours are also, those are down at 340. The vaccinations are down as well, just over 51 lakhs at 730. The tests are nearly 12 lakhs. The daily positivity rate is just above 1 at 1.10%. But here's the number we really need to watch out for, and that's really the reproductivity rate, or how fast the infection spreads. Is there a festival effect we're seeing, at least in the last 1 month? Though our average of daily COVID cases is dipping, the reproduction number is up sharply, as you can see in that graphic. The reproduction number in Delhi, for instance, Delhi's lowest average of daily cases in 2021 was 25, but the daily average of cases today is 38. So again, the numbers are low, but let's keep an eye on that graph and hope it stays down. Also, if you look at the reproduction number, how it's gone up, it's now at 1.15. Again, that's climbed up. It was earlier below 1 in the last 1 month. So these are numbers that we must watch out for in all our major cities. Well, in the midst of all this is, of course, politics, and just days after the Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath was in Western UP, ex-Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav was campaigning there today. He spoke exclusively to NDTV, saying that the Samajwadi Party is the real and only opposition to the BJP in UP.
मुजफ्फरनगर कितना सिग्निफिकेंट है? आप यहाँ पर पहुंचे हैं, 2 दिन पहले कैराना पश्चिमी उत्तर प्रदेश आए थे योगी जी, उन्होंने पलायन का मुद्दा उठाया।
हाल ही में किसानों ने एक बड़ा आंदोलन किया था यहाँ, लाखों लाख, कोई 20 लाख कह रहा था, कोई 15 लाख कह रहा था, एक साथ देश के किसान इकट्ठे हुए थे। किसान की आय दोगुनी होगी कि नहीं होगी? आज सवाल किसान की आय का है। किसान के 3 काले कानून जो दिल्ली ने पास किए पार्लियामेंट में, वो खत्म होगा कि नहीं होगा? क्योंकि बीजेपी पर कोई जवाब नहीं है, डीजल और पेट्रोल क्यों महंगा हो गया, इसीलिए तमाम ये पलायन के शब्द उठ रहे हैं, पलायन का मुद्दा उठा रहे हैं।
प्रियंका गांधी जी से एयरपोर्ट पे आपकी मुलाकात हुई थी, बातचीत को लेकर उन्होंने सार्वजनिक बोला, क्या अब कांग्रेस और आपके बीच में दूरियां बढ़ती जाएगी? लगातार वो आपको अपनी स्पीचेस में भी टारगेट करती हैं।
जहां तक कायर का सवाल है, कांग्रेसी जो असली होता है वो कायर नहीं होता। वो असली कांग्रेसी जानते हैं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कौन मुकाबला कर रहा है। आज समाजवादी पार्टी का मुकाबला बीजेपी से है, विकल्प के रूप में समाजवादी पार्टी खड़ी है। आखिरकार जो दूसरे दल हैं जो समाजवादी पार्टी से लड़ रहे हैं, वो समाजवादी पार्टी को रोकना चाहते हैं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी को रोकना चाहते हैं?
जब भी बीजेपी के किसी नेता के बड़े रैली नेता होते, वो हरदोई में जो आपने बयान में कहा था कि चाहे वो नेहरू जी हो, गांधी जी हो, जिन्ना हो, वो एक ही यूनिवर्सिटी से पढ़ करके आए थे, उसको एक बड़ा मुद्दा बना दिया है।
जिनको आपत्ति लगती है, कम से कम वो पूरा भाषण सुने कि आखिरकार क्या कहा गया था।
You can watch that full interview on NDTV. But meanwhile, the story breaking right now is of the possibility that Virat Kohli may no longer be one-day captain. Rika has the latest details. Rika, what are you hearing?
Sonia, what I'm picking up by speaking to people in the BCCI is that Virat Kohli in the long run may completely give up the white ball captaincy, and that will then rest with Rohit Sharma. Of course, he doesn't have to take a decision immediately. India's next ODI series is against South Africa, which starts on the 11th of January. In the meantime, Virat Kohli will of course lead India in the tests against New Zealand. He will also be leading India in the test series against South Africa. What the selectors and the team management is thinking right now is that given that there are so many white ball series that are scheduled next year and the year after, there are 2 back-to-back World Cups, the T20 World Cup and the 50-over World Cup, Virat will have a lot on him, which is why they want to give some of his responsibilities to Rohit Sharma and allow Virat to become the dominant batsman in white ball cricket that he once used to be. He hasn't scored a century for over 2.5 years now, and that's worrying the selectors, that's worrying the BCCI and the entire cricket fraternity. They're saying Virat, in trying to manage other people and their careers, his own is taking a backseat. So just give him the test captaincy and allow him to dominate all 3 formats of the game as a batsman.
Rika, thanks so much for that update. So interesting times ahead in cricket, lots of changes planned there. Thanks so much for that breaking story. Meanwhile, as we end tonight, well, for all those who remember Archie comics, you're now going to see their Desi Avatar coming up, directed by Zoya Akhtar. Referring to Archie and saying that she will be directing a coming-of-age musical drama based on the popular comic characters, and the film will be set in 1960s India. It will be released on an OTT platform.